This is the MMA Brief Podcast, recapping the world of mixed martial arts every single week, with your host, Brandon Johansson.
Welcome to the MMA Brief. Back a little earlier than expected, but there's been some breaking news. UFC Fight Night 97 between BJ Penn and Ricardo Lamas has been canceled. BJ Penn forced to withdraw with an injury, and they've canceled the whole card, which is sort of ironic because I had mentioned the card that they canceled, UFC 151, in the previous episode, was the first pay-per-view that they've ever canceled. And now this will make the actual third event they've ever canceled. I can't blame them. You look up and down that card, and there's a lot of fighters on the card that the casual fans don't know. Even the hardcore fans like myself do not know a lot of these fighters. Sure, Derek the Black Beast Lewis was supposed to fight on this card, and a couple other fighters, but the majority, it's really hard to plug in any of those fights and call it the main event of UFC Fight Night Manila, UFC Fight Night 97. I guess it's just the fact that UFC's putting on so many cards that they banked on BJ Penn versus Ricardo Lamas being this huge draw, that's all they needed. They can go into Manila and they could put on a huge card. But once the main event fell apart, the whole card fell apart. UFC Fight Night 97, not happening. So we'll recap the Ultimate Fighter from last night. Ultimate Fighter Season 24, Tournament of Champions. You had flyweight champion Matt Schnell versus flyweight champion Matt Rizzo. Both fighters incredibly well-rounded. Both fighters incredibly tough. Matt Schnell ending up getting the triangle choke finish of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt Matt Rizzo in the second round. A hard-fought fight for Matt Schnell. He really didn't get off the offense that he's usually accustomed to getting off because Matt Rizzo was such a grinder. He kept getting in his face, kept looking for the takedown, which Schnell did a very good job of evading all the takedowns and using his offense from his back, which ultimately finished the fight. Matt Schnell kind of predicted it before the fight started. He said, "I'm not afraid of his black belt, and don't be surprised if I submit him." It's exactly what happened. Matt Schnell is going to move forward in the tournament. So that's 5 fights in the Ultimate Fighter Season 24, 5 finishes. I can't remember a season this exciting with this much on the line. It's been incredible. But in sadder Ultimate Fighter news, Ultimate Fighter Season 17 contestant Josh Saman has passed away at the age of 28 in what would appear to be an accidental drug overdose. Josh was a very powerful person in the community of MMA. He had a lot of respect of a lot of people. He wrote for a lot of publications. He wrote his own book. He lived a troubled life. He lived a hard life. And very sad to hear that he's passed away. I'll always remember Josh Saman for his head kick knockout of Eddie Truck Gordon. Eddie Truck Gordon actually won the season of The Ultimate Fighter they were on. And they got matched up later down the road when they're both in the UFC. And it's just one of the best one-kick knockouts you'll ever see. Just right to the head and just knock Eddie Gordon stiff. Josh Saman will be missed for his fights and for his fight outside the octagon. He's a true character of the sport. This weekend, UFC 204, it's getting close, it's getting real. Only a matter of time now. Michael Bisping, Dan Henderson are going to square off. And I got a bad feeling about it, man. Got a bad feeling for Dan Henderson, but I'll be so elated if he can come away the victor this Saturday night. Bisping just seems too confident in a good way. It seems like time's on his side. And only one way to really find out, and that's to watch the fights this Saturday, pay-per-view, UFC 204. You'd be a schmuck if you missed it. Tune in, just like I'm going to tune in, and come back Monday. We'll have another podcast and we'll talk all about it.